that might be a mistake. Heck, I don't know. We'll see. But that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I got that piece, and boy, I tell you, that's really pretty out here. You don't realize how nice it is, and I don't know why. I just don't realize how nice it is until I look at it on there. Okay. Get some instruments of death out and get some preparedness rocking it on. So there's that one. I want this one, but I want it a little closer than the side-by-side is. It's on the other side of the driveway, which ain't that far, but probably should have just backed it up in the picture. Well, I don't know. I can't get everything right. Yeah, nobody expects you to. You know, that's the other thing. Nobody expects you to, but whatever. I'm pretty happy. I sold that big giant bear today. I was really happy about that. All right, let's see who we got here. Hey, Doc Johnson, what's going on? Glad to see you in there. Heck yeah, them boys trying to rope that boy. That was pretty funny. Oh, it's good stuff. Oh, I got a limb tour out here, so, and then a knot here. So I think I'll make this my bear side and get rid of, well, how far down in does that go? I don't know, I might be better off to put that to the back. Let's look at it a little bit. It don't look like it goes in too far. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, I'm gonna get started on this, make it. That's my plan. Hey, you guys hit the like button. We appreciate you guys being there. Hey, Ray, hey, Lori, what's going on? Just hit that like button as fast as you can. All right. Thinking I got a 20 over there. Well, I get the 20 out. It's just right over here. Yeah. That was a big one. I didn't think I was gonna need a bar that big, you know, but that's the way it goes. Yeah, I'm just pretty happy because I sold that giant bear today. I'm really happy I sold that giant bear. That was a really good deal. That said, y'all help me out by smashing the like button. We'll get right on to going, digging this little bear head out, and keep going from there. And I got a weird plot in here. I don't know, right here in this, where this limb has broke out of it. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna handle that yet. I might just dig it down a little deeper, but we'll see. One thing at a time. I'm just gonna dig the head out and go from there. So I'm gonna do that with the carbon bar though. But y'all see that pretty good? Yeah, that looks pretty good. Just help me out and hit the like button. That's all I ask. Yeah. Cannot get over how good it feels out here. It just feels so good. It's really pretty in the background. I mean, it just feels really good. I'm in the shade too. That's pretty nice because I'm on the edge of this field. But that's it. Smash that like button. We'll keep right on going. Hey, Billy. Hey, Kevin. What's going on, guys? Glad to see y'all. Heck yeah. Try to bring his mouth in there a little bit. Make the dust, the band got a basic head going. He's looking all right. Not too bad, not too good. We'll live with him. He's kind of cute little guy. He'll be fine. I need to round that out a little bit and kind of curl this up. But y'all do me a favor and smash that like button. We appreciate y'all being in here. gonna be it's gonna be a bear sitting in a barrel. Little cute little guy. I need to clean that ear up a little bit. But anyway, I got this bad spot in here, and I'm gonna have to dig that out. I'll probably just have to dig down deep enough to make it work, and then I can fill that with foam, so I'm not too worried about it to where it's not overly noticeable. But yeah, he's a pretty cute little guy, you know. It's doing pretty good. I can't complain a bit. All right, I gotta take that mask off. It's getting too hot. I can do it for a little while, you know, but can't do it forever. All right, there's that. But you can kind of see, I mean, he's kind of come together real quick. The face come together really, really fast. Okie doke. Go back to the 16 and clean this bark out. I'm gonna go to that bigger saw. It's out here. Why not? It's just make this go quicker, right? All right, let's do it. Y'all just do me a favor, hit the like button. Appreciate you guys being in here. I'll just try cleaning up a little bit with this little one. Doing some borders. These are pretty fun. I like making these. I mean, I actually really enjoy, well, that's what I'm learning is I really enjoy making these little bear in the barrel, taking a bath. I really like them. In the case of that right there, it doesn't really matter like this crack here because that's going to get layered with foam anyway. So I don't really have to worry about this too much. I'm going to end up covering this up in the end with foam. All right. No. And I'll tell you what, if it stays in there, by the time I hit the foam with it, it's never going to come out. So it kind of is what it is. I think I'm going to use that 16-inch bar to go around and try to get that bottom of the band. So it's a band. So it's a barrel. He's in a barrel, and that's what that is. I got a band. Hey, what's going on? Look at them big hands in there. Heck yeah. Anyway, y'all be sure. Hey, Kevin, baby kisses. What's going on? Tim List. Heck yeah. Billy Shoemate. Glad to see you guys in there. Heck yeah. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like button if you haven't already. We appreciate you being in here. All right. I'm going to start digging that bottom band out. And we'll go ahead and give this guy, we'll do the barrel first and then give this guy some hair. And that'll probably be all we can do down here. So we'll let him set and dry for, you know, a couple weeks. Because we got a big show coming up, third week in September. So we're trying to make as much as we can before then. And I think I'm going to start on a WELCOMEBEAR next. But we shall see. time to give this guy some hair. Well, he's cute. His little profile, everything about him, he's super cute. All right. Man, I think that's it for chainsaw work. I mean, I could lump off some more of this to maybe, but I don't know why. Yeah, I might as well. What the heck? think that's going to be it for him, because really all this gets covered up with foam, and if I leave this kind of hump in there, that just means I'll use less. And I'm planning on having like 3 or 4 of these ready to go whenever I actually do the foam. So I'm going to set him off to the side. I mean, he's already got a smile, his nose is in there, it's ready to go. But all the chainsaw work on him is done. It's a pretty happy looking little guy. So I'm going to set him over here, and we'll throw something else up there. Yeah, I'm just really happy. I sold that big bear, and you know what? Yeah, it is a little square. That one here, it's just a little more square. Let me see if I can't take that roundness out of it real quick. But I'm just really happy I sold that big bear today. I think that's really cool. And out at the end of my driveway, no less. You know, I mean, that's where it was. Yeah, he looks pretty good. I think he looks really cute. He's also heavy. All right. There's that one. Oh, I keep forgetting stuff. I didn't relief cut him either. I'd just soon get that out of the way now. So there's no chainsaw carving work left. That's gonna make more sense, really. All right, I'm gonna use the 16 for that. Clean that up because I was getting a lot of kickback with that one. Fuel. All right, well, I can set that one off with it. All right, so it's relieved. No more chainsaw carving left of that. Oh, ice cream! I see ice cream! All right, let's put this guy over here on the ground and leave him alone. And bring this big piece over. And this big piece will make a nice fat WOLCOMEBEAR type bear. And I don't have a sign piece down here, but oh well, you'll have that, right? I don't think anyone's asking for perfection, are they? Okay, so that's the wide side. It'll make a pretty wide bear out of that, wouldn't it? I'm gonna have to turn him at an angle though. There we go. Cut him like that. Okay, let me get the, yeah, that's all. I'm gonna get that NEOTEC. I think because it's fueled up, ready to go. And we'll make some stuff. We need a lot of stuff. I mean, I got a lot of stuff coming up. So we need to have a lot of stuff laying out here. John's cutting with that. I don't know what I was thinking. this is coming along. Not too bad. Not too good. I think I'm gonna make him mouth open. Kind of what I'm thinking. Well, he's pretty rough right now. I mean, it just looks like a block of wood with a bunch of lumps cut out of it. Pretty much. I gotta kick some of these pieces away. So I'll trip over them. But here's what it is. Okay. All right. Let's do it. Get the right saw. Work on the face. Work on the head first. Not that we can't fix that, but I think we'll go to, yeah, I think I'll go to the 170 for a while. Let that baby cool off. Hope everybody's doing pretty good. If you haven't hit the like button already, I don't understand why you wouldn't. But anyway, giving this guy a little little mouth open bear, you know, he's having a good time, just partying, getting ready to eat somebody, you know. He's just showed up at the camp. I don't need the oil yet. He just showed up at the camp and he's gonna eat all the kids, you know. Tasty morsels, right? And the cat, he done ate all the cats over the winter. I'm having fun with this. We got to build all kinds of stuff. I'm really happy I sold that big bear today. And I know I said that about 40 times now, but in case you didn't know, I was really happy I sold that big bear today. The biggest bear, most expensive piece I've ever sold. I'm pretty happy with that. And we got to make all kinds of crap because that's just how it is. All right. Okie doke. That's what happens. You run them out of fuel. Sometimes they don't want to start. But I run them out of fuel all the time. Come on, baby. You'll get it together. It'll get there eventually. Alright, well, we're getting there. A little bit at a time. Hope you guys are doing pretty good. See, we got 60. Hey, Billy. Baby kisses. Heck yeah, glad to see you guys in there. Hi, Allie. How's it going? Hey, Laura Keller. Well, you know. Heck yeah. All right. Well, anyway, we keep making this little guy. His neck's coming out pretty good. He's going to be a cute little welcome bearer. Actually, he's going to be cute. Big old fat welcome bearer, actually. Yeah. But, yeah. Okay, you like that, buddy? Yeah, he likes that. He isn't talking back or anything. I suppose before I go too far with the body, one other thing I want to do is go ahead and get I like to give them concaved in here for the eyes to go in and kind of make the eyes set back in. I just like to do it that way. Cut them sides down with 6'2". Let me dig his arms find out. It'll make these curves. Set that baby down and go with that big one. That chain kicks back a lot, and it really limits what I'm able to do with that saw. That's a side profile. He's kind of cute, but we got to cut him down in the back. How long have we been on here? Okay, just a little over an hour. I don't want to go past 120 minutes. But that said, so I got to trim the back down, kind of curve him in here like that, and give him a little foot. Sometimes I look at them and I want to make them like they're sitting in a chair. Pretty much that's just life, right? Alright, so I clean up the bottom of this guy. And he's plenty big enough to put the sign. I've been using that poplar, big heavy poplar stuff to make the welcome sign out of. But it's just kind of cute little guy, you know, he's kind of big. He's a little bulky. He's heavy enough nobody's going to steal him off a porch, you know. I mean, it is what it is. So I might as well start cutting all the curves in. Cut as much angles in here as I can. Let me pull him up here to there for the toes. Kind of clean that up. But round the paws out. I'm just giving him little paws, round this stuff out. Because I didn't want to get too carried away with the depth of the sign and end up not having it fit. Wake up now. This guy's ready for some hair and some claws. I don't know. Yeah. looked like he was taking a sawdust poop. I don't know. Anyway, there's the block out on that dude. I guess get around the nose off and a few other things. I think I'll bring some hair or more down here, right around these eye cavities. Yeah, I'm gonna do that real quick. I'm happy with that. So that's a couple pieces I got blocked out for today, and that's kind of what I was going for. I was looking for, now I'm looking for anything else I think I could fix on this guy. He's got a cute little bear. I mean, he'll be holding a sign. I mean, he's not little. I mean, he's actually a pretty big, chunky piece, but then I like making them with the mouth open. It just adds that little bit of extra something to it, at least I think so. And so here, I'll set him out here by the bathtub bear. And there's gonna be, that's kind of what I'm planning on doing anyway, is come out here and rough out, block out a bunch of stuff, and right out here on this post, and it can dry in the sun and kind of get ready to go here. How you guys doing? Okay. All right, so here's what we got. Boy, it's nice out here too, I'll tell you. Hey, Billy, thank you. Heck yeah, thanks. What's going on, Matthew? Appreciate it, man. Heck yeah, Daniel. There's guys make these everywhere. People carve all the time. It's a lot of chainsaw carvers. But anyway, he'll be holding a sign and a big heavy poplar piece. You know, say welcome. He looks pretty happy. I don't know about the concave in the eyes. I might take some more out of there because it sure looks uneven right there to there. But other than that, by the time you get the nose done and all that, you know, it's rough work right now. And same for this little guy. You know, he'll be one of, I think we're going to probably have about 6 or 7 of these come yet. At least that's the plan. Yeah, so 104 minutes, that's not too bad. All right, guys, I'll tell you what. I want to get in here early so I can take Boss Lady out to eat. We will be back in tomorrow, probably our normal time, between 8 and 9. That's what we're shooting for. Hey, June, what's going on? That is the plan. Sometime there about normal time. I don't know if I'll be chainsaw carving or flex shaft carving, but we'll be back on here. And that said, you guys, it's really beautiful outside. Everybody get out and have a nice time if you can. All right, guys, we appreciate y'all. Come back when you can stay later, yes.